Hello friends, today is day 6 of the Karabakh Genocide. It was on Tuesday that the armed forces of the dictatorship of Azerbaijan launched their attack on the territory of Nagorno-Karabakh on the 120,000 Armenian Christians who live there after having starved them for 9 months with a blockade that kept most, if not all, food, medicine, and fuel from coming in. Today, the situation in the capital city, Stepanakert, is mostly calm. People have begun finally to bury their dead. For a long time, it was not possible to bury their dead because people couldn't get to the battlefields where the bodies of their loved ones lay. But apparently now it's become possible, and there are mass burials happening in Stepanakert for the soldiers and other civilians who were killed in this attack. We've heard from our partners in Nagorno-Karabakh that a number of the deceased are being transported in refrigerated cars to Armenia because their family doesn't want to bury them in Karabakh. They fear that Karabakh is about to be taken over completely by Azerbaijan, and these graves will be desecrated, or at the very least, they won't be able to visit them anymore. So they're taking the bodies of their loved ones to Armenia to bury there. Otherwise, a lot of the situation is still the same. The roads to many population centers in Nagorno-Karabakh are still blocked. We don't really know what's happened there in the past few days. There are lots of rumors circulating of atrocities committed by Azerbaijani forces against Armenian civilians. That's pretty much to be expected. That's what we've seen every time that Azerbaijan has occupied Armenian territory in 2016, in 2020, in 2022. We can't confirm any of these reports yet, so we're not going to be sharing them. But yeah, we simply don't know what's happened in a lot of these, especially smaller villages in Nagorno-Karabakh. Yeah, it's a very grim time. The Azerbaijani authorities are promising to punish so-called war criminals from the first Karabakh War from 1988 to 1994. Most men in Karabakh over the age of, say, 45 or 50 will have fought in that war. And if it's left to Azerbaijan to decide who is and is not a war criminal, according to them, then much of the male population of Nagorno-Karabakh could really be in danger. So the danger has not passed at all for the Armenian population. One thing I noticed in the news today, the president of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, is going to visit Nakhichevan, which is an exclave of Azerbaijan. It's a strip of land that's part of the Republic of Azerbaijan, but it's separated from the rest of Azerbaijan by Armenia and by Iran. And one of the main war goals of Azerbaijan throughout this has been to have a land corridor controlled by them, cutting across Armenian territory to connect Azerbaijan to Nakhichevan. And they've threatened on several occasions to take this corridor by force if they aren't granted it by Armenia in negotiations. For Armenia, this idea of having a land corridor is a non-starter because that would cut them off from Iran, which is paradoxically one of their closest allies. I know for a lot of Christians and a lot of Americans and a lot of Europeans that will sound very strange, but remember, Armenia has 4 neighbors. One is Turkey, one is Azerbaijan, so you can't be enemies with everyone. So the president of Turkey is visiting Nakhichevan. It's a rather pointed statement about Turkish and Azerbaijani designs on the region. And then also yesterday, the US Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, called the Prime Minister of Armenia, and according to his readout of the call, he promised to protect Armenia's territorial integrity. And that's interesting because the consistent line from the US has been Nagorno-Karabakh is not part of Armenia, Therefore, Armenia's territorial integrity is not in question in this whole blockade and war and genocide. So for Blinken to come out and say, we will defend Armenia's territorial integrity is troubling. It raises the question of why does it need defending now? And what is next? What are Turkey and Azerbaijan perhaps planning? I was in Armenia last week, some of you may know, with my boss, Dr. John Eibner, as well as Lady Carolyn Cox, our good friend from the United Kingdom. And we were able to visit an Armenian outpost on the front lines with Azerbaijan, from where we could see Azerbaijani outposts that had been built on Armenian land already, well past the border between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And we visited these soldiers, and they invited us to have coffee with them inside their outposts, inside their bunker. And they asked us each to say something, and Dr. Eibner, the president of CSI, said, we should keep in mind that this is a long struggle, that this has been going on for a long time, and probably it will continue for a long time into the future. So even if things in Nagorno-Karabakh seem very dark, the struggle for the survival of the Armenian people is not over yet. We should remember that the Armenian genocide is not something that just happened once or twice. It's been an ongoing historical process since at least 1894. We had huge massacres of Armenians in the Ottoman Empire in 1894, 1895, 1896, 1909. The Great Armenian Genocide, the total liquidation of the Armenian population of Anatolia, was between 1915 and 1916. After the Ottoman Empire lost the war, the Republic of Turkey continued the genocide process. They expelled the Armenians who had managed to return home from Cilicia and from other areas of the new Republic of Turkey. They invaded the new Republic of Armenia. They killed hundreds of thousands of people. After the Soviet occupation ended in the early 1990s, Azerbaijan tried and failed to ethnically cleanse Nagorno-Karabakh of its Armenians. After that, they systematically destroyed every trace of Armenian heritage in Nakhichevan. Then came the war in 2020, and now here we are in 2023. So this is not something that we should expect to end now. Azerbaijan has made it clear that it considers most or all of the Republic of Armenia today to be West Azerbaijan, to be their rightful territory. This has been a government effort across the board in media, in universities, in civil society, so-called, in Azerbaijan, and from the president of Azerbaijan himself. They're all carrying the same message now about the return to West Azerbaijan. So the struggle is not over. The ideology of pan-Turkic nationalism, of Islamic supremacy, continues to demand the destruction of Armenians and the restriction of Armenians into an ever smaller amount of territory. So at CSI, our work to support the Armenian people continues. We're going to be there to support whatever refugees come from Nagorno-Karabakh into Armenia, and we're going to be working to prevent the next phase of this genocide process, whether that's in southern Armenia, whether it's in eastern Armenia. We don't know yet, but the job is not over, the struggle is not over, unfortunately, and so we thank you for your support. If you're like us concerned about the fate of the Armenian people, please continue to follow us, please continue to engage with us and to engage with this issue. Please stay informed, please stay in contact with your representatives. If you have any need for resources, reach out to us. We'd be glad to hear from you always. So thank you for listening, stay strong, and we'll have a new update soon.